Hey, this is Bill back in the cave, and today I'd like to do a follow-up on 3-4 blitzing. And I had talked earlier about our blitz packages in my last video, and ran into a guy, and he's like, I saw your games. You guys blitzed a lot. No, we did. We only blitzed, as I said in the last one, about 4 or 5 times a game, and they're primarily in run situations. And what happened there, too, was, that didn't always work great because we started getting, in one game, we got some slow screens in response to our rundown blitzes. And, but we adjusted that. And one of our adjustments was we had stunts. And, we could change up the front and we could stunt the front. But this one is on one of my favorite stunts that was really just, it almost became our base. It couldn't be our base because the changeup was a big key component of it. But it was a hawk call. And I got the idea of a hawk from Lou Tepper, and he wrote a book called Complete Linebacking, and he's got a whole chapter on hawk technique, which he started in the 70s at Virginia Tech with great success. Our version isn't the exact Lou Tepper version, of course, but that's where it came from. And the basic concept is you're given linebackers who generally have 2-gap responsibility, 1-gap responsibility, which allows them to read and react faster to the rest of the field. So the difference between a stunt and a blitz to me is when I'm sending a blitz, I'm taking pass coverage responsibility away from a linebacker. I'm just sending him. He's got no keys, no reads for pass. He's hitting the assigned gap as hard as he can. And that has give take, like, screens, draws. If you don't get there, it also, one of the things about it is it puts more stress on the secondary and other linebackers, because whatever linebackers aren't rushing on a blitz now have increased pass responsibility. And you're asking a high school kid to do a lot there, particularly in the scenarios you might be in where if they're two-way players, that's a lot to learn and a lot to see when you're replacing a linebacker and now covering double the space basically with double the reads because another guy's hitting his gap. So what's great about the hawk was it's a stunt, and we still had pass coverage responsibilities. It was simpler. We did have a blitz out of the stunt, but just one. But we didn't have to go into all the nuances of a new coverage, increased coverage responsibilities for other linebackers. Now, who's got the push at number 3? Who's got, in trips, what do you do? Because now you send a blitz too. They come out where they change. Even, we send in our calls post formation setup. A lot of offices that check with me, not all of them, but in that kind of scenario, we'd signal in once they came out, but they go into motion, and I have a blitz on. I had to kill the blitz. Sometimes, not every blitz structure works well against every formation, but the hawk was good against everything, and it gave us a look like we were blitzing. It really freed up our linebackers to be very aggressive without sacrificing the coverage if the ball got in the air. And as I mentioned before, I love a blitz, I love a sack, but in high school, I'm not really super concerned about the quarterback getting the ball in the air, especially if I'm playing a lot of coverage. And, I'd like to move him off X. I'd like a sack, but at least move a blitz is at least get the guy moving off X, make him look at something else other than downfield, let him make a mistake without letting him scramble, getting in space. So we keep him corralled, keep him uncomfortable. If you can get the sack, and you can't. If he gets the ball off, it's not a disaster because now he's thrown into coverage of 5-6 players. They're playing pattern match and get the hands on the ball. So conversely, we had a lot of interceptions, not a lot of sacks. But I'll take a turnover over another possession. So back to the hawk call, which allows us to have coverage and play more aggressively as if we're blitzing in certain downs against any formation. So our base was, if you've been watching, was 4-eye. That marker died fast. We were running a 4-eye, okay, with our nose guard going to the pass strength side, which we call blue. This case with 3 receivers, this one side, the nose guard knew this was blue. This side was green because it's away from the running back, okay, because of mesh handoffs. Blue and green could be on the same side. So if we went trips, okay, this would be blue-green, and those guards coming here. Okay. What it does, it allowed our linebackers to get more active in pass coverage. So on our base, we got a standard spread. He's going this way, and what it allowed us to do is play heavy to the strong side, the side that most primaries wants to go, the right side, and allowed this will to quickly react to pass coverage and get out and jump slants. I mean, we got our hands on outs from the will, 7-yard outs from here, covering this side with the nose guard, and it allowed our free safety time. And we still ran a nice shell. Generally, we were in cover 2 or cover 3, a little man free, with some pattern match underneath. But with that will being relieved of a hard A-gap read, he was able to jump. And of course, he had the responsibility to, in general defense and base, to go with the back. If he pushed out of the backfield, of course, the back went this way. The Mike had him going this way. So generally, it looked like this. He could maintain leverage on that back real fast. But he still had to read, pass, or run. So a nice change up. We start sending the house on, 2nd and 3. Good rundown. Right? That's also a good bomb down. But I get aggressive because now they're going to take a shot. So you can go quarters deep and then send the house. But then what we were getting was slow screens and draw threats. So a hot call was a nice, safe call to put a lot of pressure on the defense. They come out, they see our defense, we look the same. Okay? So we can go hawk green or hawk blue. In this case, we'll start with hawk green. Now this tackle, it's a lot of pressure. He's trying to block a 4-eye, which means he has to slow step inside all the time. We get him used to that, so as we stay in base, get those tackles used to blocking that 4-eye. Puts a lot of pressure if you ever play tackle blocking a 4-eye. Okay, so it changes your footwork. You have to be prepared for it because you cannot let that guy cross your face and beat you to the inside on pass or run. Okay, it's hard to get a double team. It's got a lot of advantages running tight. That's the reason people do it. So with this tackle, now we go 5 technique. He's on the outside shoulder, and he's going to get it easily, theoretically, because that tackle is prepared for a 4-eye slant. The nose guard now is going green. Keep it simple. Blue, green, green. He's going green. And what we've got here is, spread kind of gives up the C gap naturally. But now we have it. If they're running jet, anything this way, we're secure. We got an extra body on the edge. If they're coming back, we're still just as sound as we were before because we still have the joker coming off the edge. He's the firewall of anything coming back. Okay, we got the Will still doing his role, but now he's got that A gap to check, but he only has one gap to check. So his rule is check this gap. One gap responsibility. The Mike now, who generally has 2 gaps, usually has A to, especially with the nose guard going to the blue side, he's got A to C. Now he just has B, okay, to read. And strong safety knows he has to split. This is a Sam. The Sam has to split the slot. He's going to react to the ball and or spill traps, but he's going to stay out here far. He's providing. We keep him off the ball so that when we're getting trapped, he's hard to find as a force. They got to play him in space. He's a mismatch to get blocked here. He is a run supporter, but he's 2 yards off the ball. Okay, and he's also given a depth read for our pattern match in our secondary to determine vertical. And he's also drilled to cover the out, but he has back out of the backfield. He has flat, as does Mike. Mike has hook curl, back out of the backfield. He rallies to the flat if there's a screen. So now we got this body out here, splitting this gap and or coming down and spilling. The Mike now, once the ball pushes past the B gap, now I generally have our guys, I'm a hard offensive line reader, triangle read, looking at the hi-hat, low-lat, looking for double teams. That guard comes down the center, bam, we fill that gap right behind that guard right now. But in a stunt, we also, not only do we still have pass responsibility, but now we're changing to 1 gap read. I'm also changing or emphasizing an easier read. Most players, young players, want to read backfield anyway, and now they can. So What I have them do is react to flow in a stunt. So there's as many as 7 different flows, but we had 3 flows. So we had fast flow pushing the sideline, angle flow pushing the C gap, and direct flow pushing either like a dive or an ISO coming at them. And then they would react by fitting their gap on the fullback in an ISO case with the wheel sitting underneath of it. So with them checking their gap, reading flow, they were able to scrape extremely fast to the outside. So now we've got this mic coming out. So we can afford to keep the SAM out of here, not get stocked. The strong safety's keyed in to the SAM. He's playing off him. He's running the alley, filling. If he gets stocked down, he's outside. Okay, he gets kicked out, he's inside. By say a trap. With the mic scraping over top fast. The wheel, in this case, if they see flow ball going this way, he's checking. Is he scraping? He's shuffling. Now he changes. We're exchanging gaps. So now he's checking front side B as he works his way. The mic pushes out with the ball. He's check, check, check. That's a cloudy read. He's out. So now we got the mic and the wheel out to the flat. Fast. For a counter read, okay, if they read run, the safety's got time. He scooches down just in case there's a counter. He's scooching down and he's checking the wheel's gap. Okay. Going the other way, the strong safety is scooching down and he'll check. I'll show you on a Hawk Blue. The safeties came down to sit on counters just in case. Until the ball declared itself. So the ball declares itself on the line of scrimmage. Now he can leave this far side A gap and he's still on his angle of pursuit. So that was a hawk call, okay? A hawk green. We're attacking the green side. Our mics have really quick one gap reads, can shuffle, check each other's gaps, and now they're pushing out much faster than they had been. They still have pass responsibility. If this turns into a drop back, okay, they go to their hook curl. They still have the responsibility. Will has back out of the backfield, hook curl, go to flat, rally to flat. Okay, we could call a hawk green. Which now, from hawk blue, green we could go hawk blue. Okay, and it's the same thing. Backside A, front side B. Okay, the joker play a little bit wider. Read what's coming. Okay, he's still playing aggressive, but he's staying out of this guy's way. He could push out to the slot, okay, for sweeps and jam him up, or he could penetrate on a rush. Okay, so we still have Will just to keep things simple. We could have him peel, okay, but I wanted to keep things simple. He did have a rule for peel and a time for peel, but the linebackers one gap reads pushing outside. Okay, strong safety comes off the backside or the SAM. Okay, if there's a counter coming back, these guys scrape out, checking gaps, and we get the Will here, the mic here, okay, and they come back. We still have backside firewall with the SAM, and his strong safeties come down and check that backside A gap, and then got ready to go in his angle of pursuit. I don't like leaving corners as my force. There is some exceptions, but very few, but whenever I can, I avoid leaving a corner as a force. Too easy to run them off. Generally not your best tacklers. I did have corners that could tackle this year, which really helped our defense. But even with corners that could tackle, I tried best I could, which I think there's only one exception where the corner got left as a force. It was on a backside. So we had hawk green, hawk blue is a nice change up. We get very aggressive. It looked like blitzes. They see something coming, they react right now. They still have pass responsibility. We're not sacrificing pass responsibility. There wasn't the risk of confusion of what do I do when a guy goes. And like I said, it was versatile against any formation. So if they came out, I mean, we'd go the opposite of spread. They came out two tight ends, a wing T type look or an option look. Okay, the only difference here is the safeties would change up a little bit because the strong safety would go with the blue side, and we got an extra receiver over here. He still has tight end responsibility. We can go hawk blue here, which this is still going to be our run strength side. We have a tight end flat to the power side. We have a fullback tailback. This is still green. This is still blue. We still have hawk. And actually, with the tight end down there, it actually simplified our assignments. Backside, he's crushing through, still one same gap off tackle between tight end. You have the strong safety sitting down here as the force, not a corner. Okay. We still have one gap responsibility, scrape read. And now we have the Sam here with the Mike coming over top and a Will coming with him. Corner here is still protected. Free safety, high middle. And the cover 3 look, closed middle. And we can still sit on counters coming back. They go away. Strong safety scrapes into this backside A gap, goes to his angle of pursuit. Nothing changes. Same thing going back. Okay, that's the one scenario where a corner could be left as a force. Okay, I was very fortunate this year. This corner, you know, as far as personnel, he also played guard. He's 6'4", 200 pounds. We weren't afraid of making him a force. He was a physical player. But I still didn't want to put him in that role just in case, you know, he had to conflict and had to cover deep. I don't want him in that making a choice in that situation. So if we went hawk green, okay, I had to be aware that he was going inside. Sorry, that'd be a hawk blue. That was a scenario where this corner could be left as a force because we're going inside this tight end. But I also had a technique there where it's where you deal with stuff on film. This Sam would go through this tight end. He wouldn't go under him in this scenario. We had a physical mismatch most of the time with the Sam linebacker. If I didn't, he would take this gap. Corner has to come down. But he's basically sitting on an open field tackle here as a force. Okay, if he's coming back, it's going to be reverse or something. Not an awful tackle for our corners in space. But what we did is he would work his way through this tight end, squeeze this tight end down here to the tackle with his head outside. Okay, and we still had 2 players to the backside on the edge. But that was a physical adjustment more than a tactical one. So that was our hawk. We did have a blitz out of a hawk, okay, which really worked well, especially against gap offenses. But this works well against zone schemes or gap schemes because in a zone scheme, okay, we're plugging the tackle. Well, if you played offensive line, you know this tackle, if you're running zone, outside zone, okay, they got to cross the face of a defensive tackle. Of course, we're running 4 eyes, so they think it's going to be easy. I got the Sam off the ball so they can't find him as a force to protect them, make them play in space. So if they came out, let's say in a power eye, and run a trap, we did play a team that did this pretty well. They trapped out a power eye, ran ISO, big, strong, physical team. We go hawk blue. If they ran outside zone, once again, we're fitting and we're plugging that tackle. Now we're getting up, and if we feel that pressure is trying to cross our face, and we're bracing up and playing off of him in this gap, holding him here so that they can't explode. As you know, for an outside zone to go, you want this center to end up where the tackle is. So he's going to try to stop lateral movement. Okay, so we're hawk green. We still have a firewall backside with the joker and a pass rush. We can go cover 2, cover 3. You can go man backside. Okay. One gap, one gap. We're outside the tight end. He's fitting off the Sam. They crack or trap. He's inside or outside replacing the Sam. Corner's not the force, but he's an extra body out there that's physical. We're in good shape. Now we could go, our blitz was off a hawk blue, which was a nice change up to them trapping this strong side. We'd go hawk blue. Okay, now this is a situation where anytime the Joker knew, to keep it simple, you know, we got linebackers picking up pass responsibilities. Okay, the Joker knew anytime the wheel was going, he had to peel with the wheel, I'd call it. So remember, peel the wheel, which meant just watch the back. So if a back pushed out to the flat, this Joker went from rush to peeling with him, because now we're going to send the wheel. So this was a blitz we had out of this. And the nose guard might push a little bit further as you have him in contact with the center. Now he's going to drive to the inside hip of the guard. And the wheel would come up strong side A gap. Mike now drops to the hole. I don't have to worry about him trying to cover a tight end out leverage to the flat. He just has to sit in the hole, look for crossers, look for work, keep an eye on this tight end. We got him covered though with the strong safety. He's looking maybe to get underneath a slant or a mesh of some sort. And we got everything covered. Of course, this was a great trap scheme change up. Okay, they pull like a buck sweep. There's usually a nice gap right here. The center's occupied, or they're trying to double team. He's going to scrape right off. He's going to get the back right here. And now the Joker, he's a nice backside firewall. You have two guys in the gap in the backside, and you're still hammering the front side behind the trap. He's going to get in right behind this guard. Time it up. This guard pulls. He's on blitz. Once again, it's not a blind blitz. Okay, we're reading. Shuffle, shuffle, go. Because we're trying to get behind the guard. No point getting. But even if he gets in front of the guard and he mistimes it, he stops this guard from trapping. Okay, we don't have a guard out there. We should have a nice play downhill with these two guys. So that's the way the hawk technique really helped our defense and kept us from having to blitz a lot to make up for some things. It took away, with that look with that hawk, it also, as you can see, it'd be very strong against slow screens and draws. Because the offensive lines in conflict, you're still flooding those areas. You know, if I'm blitzing down in the A gap, okay, and they drop back and they get this guy right here, well, we've got a lot of bodies there now, okay? And by the time these guys get down or react, okay, it's obvious it's a screen. It kind of took that stuff away, or made it very hard for it to be effective on the offensive behalf. So those are some ways that we used hawk. If you want to look more about hawk, I know if you're coaching defense, you know, instead of listening to me, you should be reading about Lou. He is a defensive mastermind, and you know, it said if you haven't read Complete Linebacking, you don't coach linebackers. I didn't say that, but it's been out there about that book. So pick it up. There's a lot more in there than just the chapter on hawk technique, but that's where this came from, and it was very effective for us. So thanks for watching. Hope it helps you. Have a great spring. Peace out.